Going on? This is Courtney Rollins with the Life and Transitions Experts podcast, coming back to you with another piece of content that hopefully will be helpful to you during possible transition in your life. As I said, I'm Courtney, and here at the YouTube channel or Facebook group or even podcast, wherever you're listening to this or viewing this content, you may know or may not know, but I'll let you know now that we're here dedicated to helping folks through some of the biggest transitions in their life. I am a real estate investor, and one of the ways, well, I'm wearing many hats, but one of the ways that I find homes that may be possibly something that is suitable uh, to buy is through helping families who are as- going through challenging issues in their life, such as going through probate or going through a uh, there's a lot of transitions that can happen in life, but the focus here has a lot been on helping families navigate the probate process. Often there's property involved, and sometimes I can be the cash buyer, and other times I just can help them provide some type of viable options for them to have some type of clarity. For instance, there are several times where I'm talking to someone, a property owner, and they assume they own the property, but sometimes, well, for instance, I'll just share an example. I was supposed to settle on a property this week, but as we searched for the title records and made sure that we were able to clear title, we found out that there was a break in the title chain and that his sibling was part owner in the past and it never was transferred over properly through a will ownership. So when someone passes away in North Carolina without a will, it's subject to intestate law, and in testacies, her the property would go to, well, depends on who's alive. There's a lot of different. There's just a basically a step by step check off of, like, okay, if you're married and you have children, this is who the property goes to. If you're not married and you don't have children, here's where the property goes to. And come to find out, there may be about 30 to 40 people who own this property. And so this is going to be a tough nut to crack, and hopefully I can still provide some value and help them. But you may be in a situation where it's not as complicated as that, but you still have property that may be possibly heired to someone because there wasn't a valid will in place at the time of the person who passed away. And so there are things that you can do to transfer property ownership without a valid will. And one of those things is providing an heir affidavit. Now, I must say, I'm not an attorney and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my experience. Even the word expert, that's really me saying I'm committed to learning and growing and sharing as much as I can regarding estate administration and issues with selling your property conveniently and quickly. So, this is one of the topics that I've dug into and I'm gonna share it with you. So let's take a look. So let me just take a step back and explain what an airship is. I'm trying to share my screen here. Oh, there, I think I got to share it. Okay. So an air affidavit is a legal document that's used in the process of transferring ownership when a person passes, again, without a valid will. If you die intestate without a will, that means you don't have a last testimony, then all the assets and properties usually pass on to the heirs according to North Carolina or whatever state you're in laws of intestacy. And thank you, Attorney Eddie Harrow Jr., for helping me pronounce that word because it sounds like it's a mouthful. But they are sworn statements by the heir or heirs that are confirming their relationship to the deceased and either their right to the inherited property or uh, they may actually move on to renounce their right with a renunciation of benefits. But the documents usually used so that people can see what the value of the deceased estate's assets is and show that it falls below a certain threshold so that you don't have to go through certain probate laws. By completing the heir affidavit, usually the heirs can usually bypass the probate process, which can be time consuming and costly. Now, in North Carolina, property does not have to is a non-probate asset unless it's a situation like this where they have to clear up who actually owns the property. So there's a couple of things you have to meet in North Carolina to meet the requirements to have an heir affidavit created, and that's what we're going to look at today. Here's a couple of things we need to have. Now, the heir for affidavit should include the full legal names of all the heirs on that document. So that's easy enough. You should also make sure it states the relationship. This is the nephew to the deceased person. This is the son. This is whoever that is. It needs to be written on the actual heir affidavit. It should also include details of all the property or assets that are involved, a description of it, as well as the estimated value of those assets in there. It should be on that document. And you should take it to a notary and make sure that it's notarized with all the heirs involved. And so you see, this could be a timely process or a time-consuming process, but it will help in the long run when there is not a will in place. Um, that's why it's very highly recommended that you not only get a will before you pass away, but I highly recommend people look and talk to some family attorneys and talk about trust or other legal instruments that help you avoid the probate process. Probate is really like having a legal or civil lawsuit against your family, and as we said earlier, it's costly, it's time consuming, and it's public as well. Reach out to a state pro service or other certified probate specialists in your area to help you. We usually help with all the non-legal issues. There's a ton of things attorneys can do. They are amazing. They're worth their weight in gold, and there's still aspects of the probate process that's better suited outside their wheelbarrow, so they can get to the work of what they're supposed to get to, and can help you, and it can reduce your time with them, which hopefully will reduce the cost. So I would love for you, if you're in Durham, North Carolina, or even anywhere, I'd just love to help out. Feel free to reach out at stateproservice.com. Free consultation will talk about your case, talk about your situation, and hopefully point you in the right direction. And so, yeah, that's Friday, and I hope this is helpful to you. And other than that, I always end with life and transitions experts. Let your light shine. Cheers.